Now, next one is craving ice, okay? If you're craving ice, chances are you're deficient in iron, okay? You see this with kids. Sometimes you see this with females who are going through their menstruation where they're losing blood and iron and they're becoming anemic. They start eating more ice. They're trying to get iron, but unfortunately, ice doesn't give you iron, so you end up still deficient. The best sources of the iron that you need is red meat. You can get it from liver. You can get it from eggs. And for some reason, if you can't eat any of those products, you can also get them in a supplement, but not an iron supplement. I would recommend a supplement that is either a grass-fed liver extract or, believe it or not, there are spleen extract products that are loaded with iron, okay? So that's one way to get it. All right, next one is angina. That's chest pain. So that is where the heart is cramping and your heart is having an attack, and usually it's referred down the left arm. That is a classic vitamin E deficiency. There's two things you need to know about vitamin E. What creates a deficiency usually is refined grains, okay? As in the breads, the pasta, the cereal, the crackers, the biscuits. When you consume those products that normally have a good amount of vitamin E in it, but when they add chlorine to bleach it, they oxidize it and they kill all the vitamin E. When it sits on the shelf, all that vitamin E is lost, and then when you consume those products, it creates a vitamin E deficiency. The most important tissue for vitamin E is the inside of your arteries, and if you don't have enough vitamin E, you get a lot of rusting and oxidation, and you start getting clots, the formation of calcium, and all sorts of things that come in there. So vitamin E is very, very important. And so the best way to prevent a vitamin E deficiency is to stop doing the refined grains. And if you want a very good vitamin E, I would get the type that's a tocotrienol, not a tocopherol. The tocotrienols work about 50 times stronger than the tocopherols. And so it really is great for angina type chest pain. All right, number 13, leg or calf cramps. That is a magnesium deficiency, okay? Where do you get magnesium? Well, it's at the heart of chlorophyll. Where do you get chlorophyll? From green plants, okay? So again, we're coming back to that salad where you get good amount of magnesium. There's also potassium in there, chlorophyll, other things. But when you get leg cramps, chances are you're probably missing magnesium. You need more, and they usually go away. There's other deficiencies that might lead to cramps, like potassium, even sodium, vitamin B1, and I've done videos on that, but the most common one is the magnesium deficiency. All right, number 14, irritability, excessive thinking, feeling nervous tension, even grouchy or angry is a B1 deficiency. If you take a little nutritional yeast, if you're irritable, boy, it just chills you out. You'll feel really calm. You'll be nice to be around. People will like you a lot better. Also, before you go to bed, if you have excessive thinking, just take some nutritional yeast before you go to bed, and that you can get it in tablets as well. I'll put a link down below for more information. But you talk about turning off that excessive mind, thinking, solving all the problems of the world, which prevents you from sleep. It's really nice to be able to go to bed and not have to solve a million problems so you can drift off and sleep. All right, 15, asthma. Asthma is a situation where you have inflammation in the lungs, and this can be greatly improved with vitamin D. So if you're deficient in vitamin D, which most asthmatics are, boy, that can just reduce inflammation and help you breathe. This is why during the summer months, when kids that have asthma, they're outside, they're exposed to the sun, their symptoms go away. There's a very, very important video on a breathing method that can help asthma. I'll put that down below if you haven't seen it. But there's a really important way of breathing to pull someone out of an asthmatic attack, within minutes. So you could check that out. 16, loss of the outer eyebrows, okay? This is usually a thyroid problem or an iodine deficiency situation where they're not able to make the thyroid hormones, because when you get to like T4, T3, you're really looking at the number of iodine molecules in that thyroid hormone. T4 is an inactive thyroid hormone. T3 is the active form because the body strips off an iodine molecule. So if you don't have enough of either T4 or T3, then you could potentially lose the outer eyebrows as one of the symptoms. So If you don't have eyebrows or you don't have the outside, just take some iodine in the form of sea kelp. That's one of the best sources. 17, tightness in the right trap area right through here, okay? All the way through here. If you have tightness right there, suspect gallbladder and suspect a lack of bile salts. If you don't have enough bile salts, things get all kind of stuck underneath the right rib cage. There's a little nerve called the phrenic nerve that goes right up to the right side. And so if you take purified bile salts, that thins the bile, allows the drainage, okay? And all of a sudden your right trap feels loose and it feels better, okay? I have additional information on that. I will share that in the description. But tightness in the right trap, 9 out of 10 times, it's totally gallbladder related because you don't have enough bile and it's getting all stuck and jammed up. It's backing up into the system, showing up in your right trap. 18, nightmares. One of the best ways to get rid of a nightmare is to take B1, nutritional yeast. There's this little thing in the brain called the amygdala, which regulates the emotion of fear. Okay, so it's involved in this fear response. And so, of course, nightmares involve fear. And its function is very, very similar to what the adrenals are all about, which is like a stress gland, but it's mainly involving that emotion of fear. And there's receptors for thiamine. And if you take more B1, thiamine, boy, does that just chill a person out and they feel better and they don't have nightmares anymore. So if your kids have nightmares, give them a little nutritional yeast. But the real question is, why are they deficient? Because they're consuming refined carbohydrates in the form of all the refined grains, the breads, the pasta, the cereal, the crackers, those things, as well as sugar. So you need to handle that as well. 19, craving for salty chips at night. If your body is deficient in sodium, okay, you're going to crave salt. But if you're exercising a lot and sweating, the need for sodium goes up. And so one of the symptoms or signs of a salt deficiency or a sodium deficiency is craving for salt, okay? So if you're craving for salt at night in the form of chips, the next day I would start to increase the amount of sea salt, not sodium chloride, in your diet, okay? So start beefing that up, putting on your food, maybe even putting some in some water and drinking that. Where you get to the point at night, you no longer crave salty chips, okay? Then we know you have enough. And so for years, I had this false idea that salt was bad and I rarely consumed salt. So I always ate foods lacking salt, lacking fat. Of course, at night, I was downing all these chips and salty popcorn and salty Doritos. But during the day, I was pretty much salt-free. So I had no concept of nutrition or this whole idea that salt was not bad if it was in the form of sea salt and if I had enough potassium, okay? I didn't know that at the time. But if you're craving salty chips at night, you need to balance out your electrolytes by adding more sea salt and make sure you have enough potassium as well. But you will find those cravings will go away. All right, number 20, stiff low back or low back pain is usually a vitamin D deficiency, especially if it's in the winter. And all you need to do is take some good amount of vitamin D, or you can even make your own vitamin D. I'll put that link down below if you haven't seen my recent video. But vitamin D is one of the best things to get rid of inflammation fast anywhere in the body, especially in the lower back. I would recommend taking at least 10,000 international units per day. And it might be beneficial to take it right before bed or at a meal. Because if you take it right before bed, it actually enhances your sleep. And if you take it with meals, it's better absorbed. And the type of vitamin D I recommend is my own brand. And of course, I'm not biased, but I am sarcastic. But in my vitamin D, I put the K2 in there. I put the MCT oil. So that way you don't have to take extra oil. Everything gets absorbed nicely. All right, the next one is 21. You're craving dirt. Okay, now, normally most people don't crave dirt, but sometimes kids crave dirt, okay, or even women that are menstruating, losing blood, anemic, are craving dirt. What they're trying to get is iron. Even if your animals, like even your dog, starts eating dirt, they need iron, okay? And the best source of iron is red meat. It gives you the best form of iron that's bioavailable versus consuming spinach, things like that. So if you have anemia or you need iron, red meat would be the best thing to take, or some liver with onions, of course. All right, number 22, erectile dysfunction. That's low testosterone. That is a deficiency of zinc. Zinc is one of the best things to increase testosterone and handle this symptom. And lastly, 23, depression. If someone's depressed, they're usually vitamin D deficient. Vitamin D greatly boosts serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter. And so it's like a natural form of Prozac without the side effects. So if you're depressed or know someone that's depressed, boy, just give them a little vitamin D and just see how fast their mood elevates. Another thing to try, as a side note, is to start to do more fasting. That really elevates the mood as well.